a better Nigeria? Is it a myth, or do we keep hoping?
Nigeria is a highly religious country. How come corruption thrives?
Why is adoption not encouraged in Nigeria?
Is there a future for the Nigerian youth?
Being rich and famous, is that the only drive to be an artist?
What makes a great nation? Is it the leaders? What about the people?
This is Answers with Dr. Redru.
Good evening, great people of Jos. This is Answers with Dr. Redru, where critical life issues are clarified. This program for the past few weeks has actually centered on the quest for entrepreneurial intensity, and we've been doing justice to that topic. And today we have the discussants here. We have Obi.
Hi, Bobby.
We have Ejiro.
Good evening, Bobby.
And we have Matt.
Good evening, Bobby.
And Dr. Redru is here too.
Good evening, Bobby. Glad to be here always.
Yeah. So today, before we take up on all the other issues that we need to discuss, let's talk about what's trending in our society, and let's allow Obi to
Yeah, Bobby.
that.
So, last week there was an issue that came up, and I think it really is something that sort of dovetails into what we've been talking about. So there are sportsmen, people who have dedicated their time and their career and their money to training, as athletes to represent a country. Last week, Nigeria asked our athletes to pay their way to Rio. And it was so sad, right? As a matter of fact, one of them decided to start a campaign. She called it's a GoFundMe campaign, where she was trying to raise $4,000. GoFundMe.
All right.
Yeah, where she was trying to raise $4,000 to pay her way to Rio. And I think it sort of came home to me strong because of what we've been discussing. People who are adventurous, who spend time and energy, on a career path, and there are times such as this.
All right.
Dr. Redru, what's your take on it?
They have no idea how much Nigerians love sports. They have no idea that a lot of Nigerians will starve, and they won't even feel that they are starving if we are doing well in sports. They have no idea how sports can be the unifying factor. There was time I actually said somewhere that any kind of a governorship or presidential candidate in this country who campaign using sport is likely to win. Because these guys don't know how Nigerians take sports. And then when it has to do with Olympics, it goes beyond that. The Olympics is highly emotive. Highly emotive. Look at all the whole hoopla about what's happening in Russia. They're under ban and things like that. So for a Nigerian athlete to be going around looking for money to go to Olympics, number one, you realize that the sports ministry will have had some allocation given to them and all those kind of things. And it's so sad. It is very, very sad, because sports has been known to be the savior of many youths today. Many youths who are in sports today, if they were not in sports, they would either be in jail, they would either have caused a lot of trouble for the society. Again, there's some elements of correctness in it for a sports person to go out there, to go and look for money or things like that, because the private sector too does a lot. But the private sector who will support sports will have been given the guarantee, that enabling environment by the public sector. So for me, these young people who see sports as their life, they need that kind of an encouragement. So it really goes to say how much of a disconnect. And if there's any place where people can really be entrepreneurial, where they can really go on an adventure and be passionate, where else but sports? Yeah.
But sir, thinking about this and thinking about what we discussed in the last episode, right? The fact that you're an adventurer, you set out on this journey.
Yeah.
There are troubled times. There are times where things happen and it gives you a kick. And you also mentioned that an adventurer is not presumptuous.
That's right.
Now, so here we are talking about these guys that have decided to pursue a career in sports as athletes, runners, jumpers, whatever. They probably got in there because they had a natural inclination, right? They had the physical build for it.
Yeah.
And have spent time, energy, and money to get it done. And here they are, right now, they're in troubled times.
Yeah.
can we, use that to sort of point the spotlight again at entrepreneurship, right? Troubled times and not being presumptuous.
You see, it's very true. It really serves as a big connection here, because many times when you are good at what you do, it's only a matter of time, before you're recognized.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if these athletes will approach this kind of career path with that level of understanding, right? With that level of understanding, they stay with it. So this might be a downtime, but he should really get them positively angry, because an adventurer, an entrepreneur sees failures and all this kind of downtime as another opportunity to be better. So this guy, okay, I can't go for the Olympics this year. It's another 4 years, right? Mm-hmm. Let me see how I use that, that 4 years. Mm-hmm. But I'll give an example. There's a guy that we grew up together in the same kind of, organization in Lagos. This guy sings. He sings very well. It's like a one-man orchestra. Plays keyboard, highly skillful. This guy wanted to pursue a path in classical music, right? He wanted to really go on classical music, and he's gone for visa many times, really want to go and pursue this kind of course and all this. He could not. And then one day, one lady who pioneers a school, there, and just called him to come and sing during the end of year kind of program. This guy sang, and look at what happened. The ambassador of Belgium to Nigeria was in the audience. Mm-hmm. And he called this guy, do you really want to, pursue a career in classical music? The rest is history. Mm. That was how what he was looking for came to that room. It wasn't a university where he went to sing. Mm. It was a high school. It was a local high school there in Surulere there. And he went there to just sing, to entertain, and the ambassador of Belgium to Nigeria was there. The rest is history. The guy lives in Canada today, married to a Canadian. He has huge meetings where he actually does operas. He's now an expert in classical music. So that person there who knows how to jump, who knows how to run, you just need to keep at it. It might be a local event organized that you just go and somebody sees the potential and off you go. I've seen a musician who plays bass in a church, in Newcastle, and they were having a program. Ron Canoli came around and he said, this guy plays bass. Who is his father? I'm going to take this guy to travel with me. The rest is history. The guy wasn't expecting Ron Canoli to come. This Kunle guy who sings opera wasn't expecting. He didn't go there that day trying to perform specially. He was just being himself. But he never lost that particular idea that one day he's going to be, he's going to be on the world stage. So these guys that missed out on these Olympics because of lack of sponsorship, you don't want that to begin to regulate or you begin to determine what you think about yourself. The environment that we are in is bad. Nothing has ever been supported in this country. In fact, other athletes blame the government for only funding football. Talk to footballers, they will tell you that they are still, So the environment is bad. But like we said last week, the bad environment for the entrepreneur, for the adventurer is an opportunity, right? To really go deep, keep building skill within the limitations of what we have. Don't look for what's right. Don't look for what is okay. Create what is okay. If it is to go to the township stadium here, to keep running, to keep yourself in shape and all those kind of things, one day somebody will pick that interest. That's it. The entrepreneur, setbacks don't get them down. They don't get them down. All right. So that's the way I look at it, really.
All right. You were talking about failures and downtimes as opportunities for entrepreneurs to get better.
Yep.
You just talked about setbacks also.
Yeah.
Looking at these scenarios you just painted, and somebody once said that youths are quite productive in evil. Youths are very productive in evil. So that these setbacks that may come, while they could also be opportunities for these people to get better, couldn't they also be maybe, especially when you want to introduce that quest aspect, you really want to now explore and magnify the baser instincts in the youth's life in that sense? How do we check these kind of
you
things?
Brought up a very wonderful, issue here. But there's something I'm going to tell you, that there is no human being who loves to do evil. Right? No human being, there is no natural tendency to doing evil in any human being. When you say a human being engaged in evil, he is reacting to an environment. This that we're just talking about, I think it was a story of a great footballer in this country, Taribo West, who said that if it wasn't for football, he would have been an armed robber. He said it. It's in public domain. So, but the armed robber that you see doesn't like to be an armed robber. He's just reacting to something. But that's where this program is here. That person reacted to setbacks. He reacted to neglect. He reacted to failure. He reacted. Adventurers respond to failures. They respond to setbacks. When you react, you can only go wrong. If you see an armed robber, I've never been an armed robber, but I know that they think well, they plan well before they go out on their, the mission, so to say. So fools can be an armed robber. That's why, in developed countries, there are some criminals that they put in jail and they come back to come and be a blessing, to come and be a value added. Most people who help America and Britain to combat terrorism, they were former jihadists. Yeah, because they know the terrain. So what you see there is what this program is really trying to do. If you don't handle your downtime, your setbacks correctly, everyone who has the tendency to do good, there's also the innate tendency there to also do evil. That's the way human beings are. But you see, when you see a human being doing evil, doing bad things, so the person who said that the youths are what again? You
productive
said
in
they
evil.
are productive in evil. He is reading the wrong script. Any youth who is productively active in evil is an indication that he can be so productive in doing good. He just reacted. He has blamed somebody, for his bad situation. You want to take responsibility for your downtimes, for your setbacks. You don't want to blame anybody. The moment you begin to blame somebody, that good that's in you can be propelled negatively. Accurate, real human beings are wired to doing good, but they also have the potential to deploy that wiring for evil. So that is not the correct description of a human being.
Dr. Reggie.
Yeah.
This is deep.
Yeah.
And I relate with this question.
Yeah.
Because he says that people say that youth are
productive
in evil.
Yeah.
But there is another narrative that says that the youth of nowadays don't want to work hard. They just want a quick fix, quick money, quick success kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you started off this episode by describing, a scenario which we can coin as when preparation meets opportunity.
Absolutely.
Right? Then you get to the next level, open and close, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes, I'm just thinking about that 28-year-old guy.
Yeah.
Who is preparing for something he can't see. Okay? I mean, he's listening to you and he says, okay, what is it I'm passionate about? Let me just keep getting better. Yeah. Let me keep getting better. And then somebody by his side who doesn't do a quarter of the work he does, just gets propelled into some kind of limelight or success. And here he is, in the dark, in the shadows, saying he's preparing for the so-called opportunity. I mean, what would you have to say to people who are in that kind of right now?
It still further amplifies this issue of reaction, right? We get into trouble. I said the youths of today, they are quick to compare themselves with others. You see, that is what separates the adventurer. That adventurer only compares himself with himself. I had this ancient story of a young king who dared an older king to war, right? And the older king wanted to teach him a lesson. He deployed his soldiers and said, when you get there, don't kill him. Make sure you arrest him. So this guy was arrested and he was brought to meet this older king. The older king told him, I'm going to give you a last chance to live, right? I'm going to give you, put water in it, and you're going to race round the town kind of pitch, and I'm going to put two crowds in the field for you. One will be cheering you, the other will be jeering you. and said, and my executioner is going to be behind you. If there is a drop from that spoon, your head will be the next. Your head too will drop. So, long story short, this happened and this group was jeering. You will fail, you will fail. And this other one was cheering, you can do it, you can do it. And this guy came back, not a drop. So the king now said, okay, what happened? Which of these groups actually affected you? You know his answer? He said, which group? He said, no, we have 2 crowds in the stadium. He said, I didn't even see them. He said, I didn't even hear a sound. He said, my eye was on the spoon and the water inside it because my life, that was my life in my hand. He said, I did not hear both the jeer or the cheer. My focus was on where I was going, that if I can just get to that finish line, number one, I will never dare an older king again. And I want to live. You see, so that's the problem. We are quick to use the other person. And you see, and that brings me to this very critical point here, that a lot of youths out there, while it is good to learn from people, but you see, in actual fact, they are not learning from people. They want to be those people, right? You read stories about Dangote. You are not trying to learn. You are not trying to, the way we say it, contextualize. Even if your name is Dangote, you might not be Aliko. Right? Even if you are Aliko, you are another Aliko, not Aliko Dangote, the business mogul. So we need to learn from people. There is a very thin line. Many times we are looking at them, we want to be them. But instead of learning from them, following those timeless principles that their lives throw on the path. One thing I've seen here is that many of them, they have read a lot of success stories. They've heard the stories of Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Aliko Dangote, and all those kind of things. But you see, number one, they have never met them. They have not heard the story firsthand. And even when they read those kind of stories, they don't know that they are reading a complete story. Right? They're reading a complete story and they have to read between the lines. The most valuable part of those stories is when those guys were not doing well. If they reacted to their downtime, we will never be reading their stories. But they responded to it. They made good use of it. There are too many success stories out there. People are following icons. They are doing all that, but those stories are incomplete. They are incomplete. You know, there's something very tragic that Patrice Lumumba, that professor came, he spoke on channels about a few weeks ago. He said it's so tragic now that the young man out there is just looking for his own opportunity when it will come and will enter government and also steal money. You know, so we're trying to help the young man out there. You can't take somebody's story and you just want to replicate it. You have read the story when that story tells you of your own peculiarity, your own uniqueness. Do people know Dangote's parents? Do you know the school he attended? Because those stories are there. Many have not even read it. They heard the story from somebody who read it, who told somebody, who told another somebody. They might be the 10th person hearing it. So it's so disjointed. People lose themselves when they hear too many success stories that are not talking about the times they failed. You see, failure is most valuable than success. That's why adventurers have a basic trait. They approach life as learners, not as experts. So while it is good to learn from people, while it is good to follow people's footsteps, never forget you are not them and you are not destined to be them. So too many success stories out there, too many fantastic stories. Let's look way back into history. There is no one who really, the time they spend in obscurity is more than the time they sadly spend in the limelight. Is it Moses? Is it Job? Is it Abraham? Is it even Jesus? You know? For a walk of 3.5 years, it was 30 years in obscurity. Nobody knew him. He was a carpenter, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but today we are so excited about people's success. And you also want to go there. You forget how many years the person spent before getting to that point. 10, 15 years ago, where was Aliko Dangote? Mm-hmm. Yeah. 15 years ago, who knew him? 20 years ago, who knew him? He didn't fly. Yeah. He didn't fly. The guy walked. The guy walked, connected, built skill, and all those kind of things. That's it. Also today, my problem there is there are too many success stories.
All right, Dr. Reju, I wish they could feel the passion that we have in communicating this, especially to the young ones. And when we come back from the commercial break, Dr. Reju will allow you to continue painting the kind of picture, a mindset that an entrepreneur has to have. If you're listening to us, 081-4456-9000 is the number that you need to use in communicating with us. Or if you're on Facebook, Dr. Reju Answers. Stay with us and we'll be back.
Do you wish to keep fit and healthy? SoFit Sporting Consult offers an exciting and excellent lawn tennis, table tennis, and badminton coaching experience for kids, adults, amateurs, intermediaries, and professionals. You can also contact us for general sports supplies. We're located at ELM House Compound around Old Airport Junction here in Jos. You can reach us on 07032 859685 or 080-735-25160. You can also send us an email on sofitconsult@yahoo.com.
There are cooking oils and there are cooking oils, you know. Of course, there are those that foam like soap when you put them on fire, and there are those that go to sleep after a few days. There are even those with funny odors that make neighbors wonder what's happening in your kitchen.
I beg, don't kill me.
But then again, there is Grand Pure Soya Oil, made from pure soya seed. Grand Pure Soya Oil is cholesterol-free, which makes it ideal for the heart and health conscious. It neither foams nor fumes, neither does it congeal even at low temperature. Grand Pure Soya Oil is also endorsed by the Nigerian Heart Foundation as heart-friendly oil.
Let me go and get my own Grand Pure Soya Oil, Joe. Oil that doesn't smell or sleep.
Grand Pure Soya Oil, a heart-friendly oil you've always known.
Are you constrained by work or have a busy schedule? The Mac Essence Limited is a full-service interior design company. Our expertise include a wide array of dedicated services, which includes space planning, bespoke furniture design, designing and decoration of residential and commercial buildings, corporate offices, hospitals, hotels, and restaurants. In addition to our interior and construction services, the Mac Essence offers deliveries under its registered brand, the Messenger Deliveries. At the Messenger Deliveries, we offer all kinds of delivery services, from delivery of gifts to food, letters, and we can also do your weekend grocery shopping for those within just Metropolis. You can contact us on 081-4657-0177. Send us an email on themac@themacessenceng.com. You can check us out on Facebook on the Mac NIG.
Welcome back. This is Answers with Dr. Reju. And if you just joined us now, we have been talking about the entrepreneurial intensity for our society today. And Dr. Reju has been doing justice with that with other people here. Now, before we allow Dr. Reju to wrap up this session today, we want to acknowledge those who have sent in messages and comments and all of it. We like to let you know that they are well acknowledged. We have people like Manshak Joseph, Kenneth Ehudu, and Mary Blessing Onumai who have sent in their comments, and we like to acknowledge it. Dr. Reju, because we have limited time, I want you to paint that picture properly about success and how the young people nowadays, what you were hitting and being passionate about before we went on the break. I want you to continue.
Yeah, it's a question of how we're allowing success, our quest for success, to drive us into some levels of presumption. That you read the success story of somebody, most of the time what actually produced that success comes in very, very silent tone. And that's really the key to that success. And you see, again, what has actually sort of promoted this is the environment of quick fix that we now live in. We sort of look at the conclusion of people's stories, and then we believe that's where you want to start from. You have to appreciate their times of obscurity. And you see, today, even parents don't help. This level of pressure, we don't have that patience to be able to walk through dark alleys with our kids. The kid is not doing well in school and you mount bigger pressure. We don't know how to let our kids know that failure is simply another opportunity to succeed. Right? And honestly, the worst culprit are people, maybe in some churches, where you go and you say this kind of a thing, just pray. It doesn't work like that. I had somebody who said, I want a good guy as a husband. The question I asked her, are you good? I said, if you want a good guy as a husband, commit to being good. Birds of the same feather, they flock together. You are not planning to pay any price. You just want a well-made product, a good guy. Right? If you see a good guy, something made him good. Commit to that, to being good too. So we have a society of quick fix. We have a society that runs on formulas which don't exist. They don't exist. Prayer is not magic. You know, even that you work hard is not even a guarantee. You know, there's still a game of chance there. But you see, the one that works hard, right, has a better chance. You know, where I really want to anchor this is that we need to let the kids of today, the young ones of today, these emerging leaders today, let them hear me now. Let me talk to them directly that you need to begin to learn to appreciate times of obscurity. We live in an environment where fame is celebrated. You know, everybody wants to open a Twitter handle today and they want to have 1 million followers. You begin to envy the guy who has 1 million followers. You want to go out with one album today and you want to hit platinum. You know, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work because if you start building a house from the roof, there's only one way to go. It's down. It's down. But if you dig your foundation properly, there's only one way to go. It's up. So we need to begin to promote this thing about starting small, about times of obscurity. And then you don't want to, like my mother will always tell me, don't use another person's wristwatch, right? To plan your life. Use yours. Use yours. Don't look at what's happening around you. Learn from that younger king. Don't look for chairs. Ignore the jeers. If somebody encourage you, it's just an added value. If somebody discourage you, that's okay. But keep your focus on where you're going. So the adventurer is not presumptuous, right? But the onlooker looks at him and says, where is this guy going? But where he is going, he can see it inside of him. But today we are distracted by what should encourage us. We are distracted. If you sit and look at, because I mean, he's the richest man in Africa, right? So we keep talking about, if you sit him down, if he talks to you for 5 minutes, I can bet you the times when he has failed will be like 3.5 minutes. Because that's where you learn from. There are a lot of things we've spoken about. You know, information is out there, but many of them, they can only get you started. Where you are really going to learn is when you fall into those ditches. When you try something and it fails, that failure only opens up to you one thing. You are now sure of one thing. This is how not to do it. This is the way not to do it. It can only open you up to a lot of other ways to doing it right. So this is my word of encouragement. As much as I'm not an expert in encouraging people, I like to challenge people. It has been confirmed this last week. Nigerian economy is now, forget about the technical, is now in recession. We lost in the last half of this administration, we've lost over $1 trillion in projected revenue. We are only doing 50%, of our budget. That's not to get you down. For the adventurer, for the aspiring entrepreneur hearing me there, that's an opportunity.
Well, Dr. Reju, I think that's a good note to call it a day today. And thank you, Obi.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you, Iju.
Thank you very much, Bobby.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Bobby.
And thank you, Dr. Reju.
Appreciate that, Bobby. Thank you very much. You're always welcome. Please keep the adventure going. This is the time. No better time.
No better time. Yeah. Do you have questions for us? We would like to attempt to answer your questions. 081 4456 9000. Or you can post it on Facebook. We will gladly respond. And that's Dr. Reju Anseth. DRREJU. Thank you and have a great day.